Welcome to The Explainer. We're going to jump right in today because we're talking about something absolutely critical for any nonprofit: how to protect your mission and your money from being misused. So, think about this for a second. Your organization exists to do good in the world, right? But what if, without you even knowing it, it was being used for harm? It's a hidden risk every single nonprofit faces, and it could put your entire mission in jeopardy. It's a challenge that, lives in the shadows, but believe me, the consequences are very, very real. So, what are we actually talking about here? Well, it all comes down to two big acronyms: AML, which is anti-money laundering, and CTF, counterterrorism financing. These are basically the global rules of the road that are designed to stop bad money from flowing through financial systems. And yes, that includes charities. So when you get this right, you're not just protecting yourself, you're actually becoming a key player in the global fight against financial crime. Okay, so I know what you might be thinking. We're a nonprofit. We're the good guys. Why is this such a big deal for us? Well, that's a great question. Let's dig into what makes nonprofits uniquely vulnerable. It's really the very nature of your work that can, ironically, create these risks. You're often handling a huge volume of donations, and you're probably operating across borders, sending funds to where they're needed most. At the same time, you might have limited resources for things like compliance, and all the while you have to protect the single most important asset you have: the trust of your donors. All right, now that we kind of see the risks, let's talk about the solution. The good news is you are not helpless here. There is a clear, straightforward playbook you can use to protect your organization and actually turn these challenges into a real source of strength. And you know what? It really just boils down to these three simple pillars. This isn't about creating a mountain of paperwork. It's about having a smart, risk-based approach that you can tailor to fit your specific organization. So step one, know your risk. This means asking some really honest questions. Where do you operate? Are any of those areas politically unstable? Who are you partnering with? How do you move money around? A risk assessment is basically an honest look in the mirror to understand the realities of your work. And look, this isn't just about some internal checklist. Your biggest supporters are watching. As Mark Lomas from WaterAid says here, those large institutional and corporate donors, they expect you to have these checks in place. They want to know you're protecting their investment and your shared mission. And I love this point from Han van Kammen at Dan Church Aid. It perfectly captures the goal. Your compliance has to work in the real world. It needs to be a tool that helps your team on the ground, not a hurdle that slows them down. It has to be practical. And that brings us to the third pillar: staying alert. You know when you see something that just feels off? A strange donation, a weird pattern of transactions? Well, reporting that isn't just a good idea. In the US, for example, you're legally required to file a suspicious activity report with FinCEN. It's a crucial step that protects everybody. And if you need proof that regulators are paying attention, just look at this number: a 400% increase in these filings from just one sector. That shows a huge trend toward more scrutiny across the board. This is the new normal, and it's a huge signal that nonprofits need to be just as vigilant as anyone else. So, if you thought the domestic side of things was complex, well, you might want to buckle up. Because when we go global, the challenges for nonprofits operating across borders get even bigger. Operating internationally is like trying to navigate a giant maze. I mean, every country has its own laws, its own language, its own way of doing things. What's perfectly fine in one place might be a huge red flag somewhere else. Trying to keep it all straight is a massive, massive challenge. And just to give you a sense of the scale we're talking about, look at this. One organization distributing over £700 million to more than 100 countries in a single year. Now, just imagine trying to manage compliance across 100 different legal systems. It's a monumental task. And the stakes for getting this wrong? They are getting higher and higher. Global fines for financial crimes shot up by over 50% in just 1 year. That tells you everything you need to know. The regulators are not playing around. When banks get hit with fines this big, we're talking $2 billion here, they naturally get a lot more cautious. This leads to something called de-risking. It's just a fancy term for banks deciding that some clients are too high risk to work with. And unfortunately, sometimes nonprofits get caught in that net, which can make it really hard to even get basic banking services. So, I get it. With all these global challenges, it's really easy to feel overwhelmed, especially when you're working with limited resources. But what if I told you that you have a powerful ally in this fight? Well, you do. And the answer, more and more, is technology. This is really the heart of it. It's about making a shift, moving away from the headaches of slow, manual, error-prone paperwork and moving towards smart, automated solutions. It's about getting clear, real-time information at your fingertips so you can spend less time worrying about compliance and more time actually changing the world. See, tools built for this can become your single source of truth. They can automate all those tedious but critical tasks like screening donors, checking against watch lists, and creating reports that are ready for an audit. This frees up your people to do what they do best: get out there and fulfill your mission. Okay, let's bring this all home. I want us to completely reframe how we think about compliance. Because it is not just about dodging penalties. It's about something so much bigger: building unshakable trust. So let's just say it plainly: strong compliance is not a burden. It's your shield. It's how you protect your mission. It's how you build trust with your donors. And it's how you make absolutely sure that your resources are actually getting to the people who need them. It's a powerful strategic tool. And remember, your work fits into a much bigger picture. As the Deputy Secretary of the Treasury points out, this is a team effort. When you're compliant, you are an active partner in protecting the integrity of the entire global financial system. And really, at the end of the day, it's this simple. When you embrace transparency, you are building a foundation of credibility. That's what allows for sustainable growth. It's maybe the most powerful way to show your donors that you are responsible stewards of their money. It's the bedrock of your reputation. And that's really the key takeaway here. It's time to stop looking at these challenges as obstacles. Instead, see them as an opportunity, a chance to build a stronger, more resilient, and more trusted organization. So the real question isn't whether compliance is a burden or an opportunity. The real question is, how are you going to seize this opportunity to make an even bigger impact on the world?